This next comedian coming to the stage is also a new guy, up and coming. He's been having fun. Please give it up for Jason Grant.
Usually when I hear my name called out like that, my response is, yes, Your Honor. I'm happy to report that my anorexia is in complete remission. Happy to be here. I know it's sort of the usual sort of opening, but I had kind of a rough morning. I was at Whole Foods and I was checking out, and a very nice girl behind the counter who was checking me out said, "Would you like me to wrap your meat in plastic?" And I thought, well, now that's taking customer service to a whole new level. Only I was thinking more in a euphemistic term. She wasn't. And I was explaining that to the police. And I was just about ready to get them to take the handcuffs off when one of my asshole friends called me. And the problem with that is that I have a "you have a pretty mouth" ringtone. And at that point, they decided a little further intervention was necessary. But anyway, here I am, and as long as I'm home by 10, then, it shouldn't be an issue. And I'd like to say, how do you get this way? I mean, come on, you're a middle-aged guy, you should know better. Well, I would say maybe it has something to do with spending way too much time on the internet, engaging in all manners of predation, or maybe spending too much time on Craigslist, but no, it's my parents' fault. I'm the child of a mixed marriage. You see, my parents were from, well, they were hillbillies and Germans. I'm from Kentucky. It was kind of neat. We had an interesting sort of family motto. Let me see if I can remember it. It was, Bitte nein, ich bin immer noch Rückenschmerzen von der Leitzenzeit, which translates roughly into English to, "Thank you, no, I'm still sore from the last time." And I can remember one beautiful morning back when I was a young adolescent, back when my psyche was being twisted into the ugly, putrid form it's now become. I walk outside, my dad is hosing vomit off the side of the house, right underneath the family window, and I hasten to point out that our house had a foundation and not wheels. And I walked inside and asked my mom, what's up with the thing there? She goes, well, last night we were at the party, and I had a little too much to drink, and I had my head out the window, and I was throwing up when your father was behind me, taking his marital privilege. She was heaving, he was hoeing. And I thought, if you guys keep this up, I'm going to end up as either a serial killer or a cab driver who dresses like a lesbian. They gave me a copy of Hustler, said go to your room, and you can see the way I'm dressed, the cab is right around the corner. Dreams come true, man. Dreams come true. And people say, cab driving, that must be really interesting and whatnot. In Ann Arbor, it's crazy, isn't it? No. Cab driving is about as interesting as watching Rachel Maddow get a Brazilian in this town. So, not a particularly inviting sort of thing. I mean, I do have a little fun with the customers every now and then. They'll ask, what's the thumping sound in the trunk? And I'm saying that's a Scientologist who's figuring out that Lord Zeno is the least of his problems right now. Sure, the cab's rigged for video, but it ain't got nothing to do with cash cab, but that's all right. Later on, they'll probably find a collection as I'm being bunny hopped into the back of a cruiser and they're digging up the backyard. Hopefully, well, I call it the garden. I'm looking for a better job, no doubt. I mean, I've got a degree in economics, which explains the cab, I think. But the governor of this state has done such a wonderful job with the job market in here. He's done to the job environment what Pol Pot did for tourism in Cambodia. Hey, this is not poop jokes, all right? Hey, listen, folks, I got to tell you, man. Just saw him right down here, a little blast from the past. Good old friend of mine from way back when. Ladies and gentlemen, my first pimp. It wasn't easy either. Yes, it was. I remember your name now. It was Slim Whitman. Yeah, Slim Whitman. You called me your Whitman sampler. You remember. I was at the truck stop way back when. I was dressed in my Boy Scout uniform selling candy bars. And even though you'd seen me, that's right. And even though we just met, you knew I was in my mid-30s, and yet you took me in, you turned me out, you flopped me like an overdone pancake. Oh God, the memories. I never will forget the first time I held out on him. Oh Lord. Oh, that's right. Told me he was going to put his foot up my ass, and he ripped the car antenna off the 1972 Bonneville. But he was a gentleman about the whole affair, because at least if nothing else, he didn't mark up the merchandise, and I was at least able to carry on. Oh, now my time's just about up. The red light of doom's on. I'm going to leave you with one little last bit of advice that I got from my cousin, who worked for a long time as a dominatrix. She always used to tell me as she was putting the clamps away, that, you know, if you have fetishes that involve gunplay, never use fire as a safety word. Thank you very much.